Hello and welcome back to the Wizards Arena, my fellow Planeswalkers. Today's January 7th and Wizards of the Coast just dropped a whole bunch of cards all over us. And then there was like 3 of them before now, or 4 of them, just to kind of whet our appetite after the first of the year. So we're gonna dive right into some of these cards and see what we got. First up is the Splendid Marshall. Colors 2 white for a 3/3 flying Angel Warrior. Shockingly, more party mechanics. When it enters the battlefield or dies, you may exile another creature card from your graveyard. When you do, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control other than Marshall that shares a creature type with the exiled card. Early on, I don't think this card's going to be super good, like when you drop it on turn 3, because not much stuff will be dead. When it dies later on, it could be good, but if it's because of a wrath or something like that, it doesn't matter. So it's one of those, I feel it's going to be in an Angel deck, probably like 2 of, because it is a 3 curve, because it is a 3/3 fly for 3. It's a pretty decent mythic, but I just don't see it getting a ton of play. Like, it'll probably get played more in Commander late game, because people are trying to lower their curve. So I feel like he gets a 5. It's pretty good, but just early on, it's just 3 for a 3/3 flyer. Moving on to our next card, we get and with some of these cards that came out, they're like leaks or something like that. It's like they're not that great. It's 2 and a white for a 2/4 flying Angel Cleric. Clerics needed some loving, so let's see what we got here. Whenever another Angel or Cleric enters the battlefield under your control, you gain life equal to that creature's toughness. Well, that's pretty sweet. Angelic Chorus on an Angel, that's good. And as long as you have at least 7 life or more than your starting life total, creatures you control get +2/+2. So, 2 things about this last paragraph. They've started to realize they have to make it for a commander. And then, even she gets the +2/+2. So then she's a 4/6 as a 3-drop. This one's doing a lot of lifting. This is the 3-drop Angels we've seen so far. I'm expecting a playset to get run. This is a 7. This is really good. Next up, we have the Runeforge Champion. Okay, this guy is a 2/3 for 2 and a white. He enters the battlefield, and you may search your library and or yard for a rune card. Reveal it and put it into your hand. You search your library this way, shuffle it up. You may pay 1 generic rather than cast the mana cost for rune spells. He's 2 and a white for a 2/3 Dwarf Warrior. I don't know. I just don't know. Like, I can give him like a 4 right now, but until we see what runes there are, like if the runes are all going to be junk, it doesn't matter. Like, how good we think he is. Like, if there are no good runes for standard, he's useless. So he's getting a 4 until we know better. Like, if they make all these crazy good runes and make Dwarf Warriors or Dwarfs into a thing, then he's a lot better. Another god. or lore on God of the Cosmos. You guys seen this card earlier today. 3 and 2 blue for a 1/1. Well, that's not impressive. So you better be amazing. He gets +1/+1 for each card in your hand and each foretold card you own in Exile. Oh, okay, so that's pretty good already. At the beginning of your end step, choose a card type, then reveal the top 2 cards of your library. Put all cards of the chosen type in your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. So, if we got, like, we'll say, since he's 5 mana, 3 cards in our hand and a foretold card, he's probably like a 4/4 or a 5/5. And then it kind of lets you sort of scry at the end here. So he's pretty good. I'm going to hold off on rating him until we flip him over and look at his backside here. Because his backside's a different name. He's not in the same spot. The Whispering Raven. Colorless and a blue. Whenever it deals combat to an image to a player, return it to owner's hand, then scry to. It's a 2/3. So everybody thought that the gods would have weapons on the backside. And that is not the case, apparently. So I know already reading some of the forums, people are angry. Because you can never make everybody happy. So, you have an early threat if you need it, or you have a god later on. Or you can have both of them out. Because you can do combat damage with the bird, set up the top of your deck, and then use the god's ability at your end step to make it combo work best. So, that's a thing. So, overall, I feel it's 7 because you're getting scry in cheap, and then on the flip side, you're getting a decent big creature that can also quasi scry. They have no protection, so they're not super amazing. So on to our next one. Our Laurendar's Empathy. 5 and 2 blue for a Mythic Sorcery. Okay. Mythic Sorcery for 7 trillion mana. It's gonna be good. Create 2/1 bird creature tokens with flying. Okay. Take an extra turn and exile this. Whew. Okay, it's not as busted as Nexus of Fate. Sound better already. Nexus of Fate was a big piece of craziness. Foretell. Okay, this is the first card we get to see in this round of spoiling with Foretell. 4 and 2 blue. During your turn, you may pay 2 and exile this card from your hand face down. Cast it on a later turn for its Foretell cost. So, with Foretell, we're given our cards in our hand. We're putting them in the exile zone for 2, and we're making them immune to hand destruction. So no Thoughtseize, duress, it's safe. So we can just stick it over there. We get to turn 6, we can make birds and time walk. I'm not sure. Like, 6 mana to make 2 tokens and take an extra turn, that's fair. You know, it's a mythic. All the take an extra turn cards are mythic, so I guess it's better than like Part the Water Veil and some of this other stuff we've had that require like legends in play and stuff, like Karn's Temple Sundering. So it's not the most earth-shattering card, so I guess 6 is where we'll put it. Move on to our next card. Okay, the Augury Raven. 3 in the blue, flying 3/3. Foretell for 2. So on turn 2, you exile it. Turn 3, I can spend 2 mana and throw it out there and have mana up for a 1-cost counterspell, or wait till turn 2 and have negate up or something. It's a draft card. I just don't really... yeah, it's a fine common. Got invasion on it. Pretty solid. Yeah, not going to rate a common. It was just more to show you what the mechanics were. Behold the Multiverse. It's got a picture of Nico, our new Planeswalker. 3 in the blue instant. Scry 2, then draw 2. Older draw 2 spells that were instances just let you draw 2. So this one, sold. And you can do it on turn 3 a little early because you foretell, and then turn 3, at the end of turn 3 you do it. So this is good. Like, this is way better than the previous one we just saw. Like, it will probably see fringe standard play, so I'll probably, like, you know, it's like a 4. It's good. Again, it's a common. It's not terrible. On to our next card. We're going to glimpse the cosmos as an uncommon. Colors in a blue. Sorcery. Look at the top 3 cards of your library, put 1 in hand and the rest on the bottom in any order. I wish they'd stop this. It's either random or it's any order. Just pick one and stay with it, please. I hate it. As long as you control a giant, you may cast Glimpse of the Cosmos from your graveyard by paying a blue rather than its MC. If you cast Glimpse of the Cosmos this way, and it'll be put back in your graveyard, exile it instead. Okay, so it's got the Yawgmoth bargain text. If you go to your yard afterwards, exile it. So, yeah, it's a cool card that's cheap for giant tribal. Sold. It's an uncommon. It's doing a little more heavy lifting than some uncommons. It's a 7. I like it. Next up, we have Agadon Rune Eyes. Okay, what are you doing with our lives here? 3 in a blue human wizard 3/3. It's a legend. Enters the battlefield, scry 3. When it dies, draw 3 cards if 3 or more creatures died this turn. So, the neat thing about this guy is if your opponent wraths your board, and you're doing like a blue-red aggro creature build, you get to refill your hand. I don't think they want that to happen. So I really like it. It's got pseudo protection in the sense of board wrath and protection. You know, it's kind of a neat idea. I'll give it a 6. It's pretty cool. Next up, we have our first snow sorcery. Blood on the Snow. 4 and 2 black. Rare. Choose one. Destroy all creatures or destroy all planeswalkers. Sold. I love these kinds of cards for Commander. What else does this do? Then return a creature or planeswalker card with converted mana cost X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, where X is the amount of snow spent to cast this thing. Snow can only be used on generic. So we're getting back a 4-cost creature or walker. Well, 4 costs is when you start getting into some decent cheap walkers. So yeah, that's pretty fair. And especially if you're playing like Black Red, you get back Chandra Flame Ignited and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm sold on this, especially in Commander. I'm going to give this like a, yeah, it's got multi-modes. I give it an 8. I really like it. If you're talking standard, it's probably like a 6. Like, it's not that great, but I really like Commander. So, standard 6. But Commander's an 8. Next up to bat, we have another one of their quasi-elite cards. Rise of the Dread Marn. 2 and a red instant. Create X 2/2 black zombie Berserker tokens, where X is the number of non-token creatures that died this turn. You can spend 2 and exile it and then foretell it for a black. This foretell card I like, because then you can seem like you're almost virtually tapped out, and they're like, oh, it's safe, you can't have anything nasty in this thing, and then you're like, from left field, I got a bunch of zombie tokens. So this, so far, I think is the best foretell we've seen. Give it a 7. And I think it's going to be good in Commander and Standard. It's about the same. Next up, we have Velky God of Lies. Okay. Let's read. He's got text out the wazoo. Colorless and a black for 2/1. When he enters the battlefield, each opponent reveals their hand. For each opponent, exile a creature card they revealed this way until he leaves play. Sure. Spend X and choose a creature card exiled with Velky with converted mana cost X. Becomes a copy of that card. Okay. I like this guy already better than the blue dude. So the other guy, the first card we've seen had a weapon on the backside. The second guy we saw had a bird on the backside. This guy, though, is different yet again. It's Tibalt. What? Yeah. We got a Planeswalker on the backside. 5 a black and a red for a 5 loyalty walker. You better do something sweet for costing 7 mana. As Tibalt enters the battlefield, you get an emblem. Say what? With you may play cards exiled with Tibalt Cosmic Imposter, and you may spend mana as though they were any color to cast these spells. Okay. +2. Exile the top card of each player's library. Pretty good. -3. Exile an artifact or a creature. Pretty good. -8. Exile all cards from all graveyards. Add 3 red mana. Well, that's just ridiculous. So, his ultimate doesn't give you an emblem, but it does give you dope ability. You have to successfully +2 and protect him. He is a 7-cost walker. Walkers are hard to judge in a vacuum. This is reminding me of Garruk, the black-green one that exiled, destroyed planeswalkers and such. That had the 4 abilities, because he gives you 4 things literally. But the bonus thing is that on the other side, you have a 2-cost god. So you draw him early, you got a 2-cost creature, the God of Lies, and if you draw him late, you can actually just hardcast him. There is no flip requirement like for the black-green Garruk from Innistrad. So, from what we've seen so far, I think he's the best card we've seen. But then again, he does cost 7. Because he's he's a late game play. Is he overpowered like Omnath or Earl? I don't think so. Because he costs 7. Those cost 3 and 4 respectively. It's like, so I'm going to give him an 8. He's really strong, but his mana cost is warranted. It's not like I can gem him on the field on turn 3. Like him a lot. I'm going to be sticking him in a couple black-red decks. Commander, and I'm probably going to try to run him in my black-red standard deck, because he's good. He's really good. The only thing that... Ooh, one other thing to check before we move on. So one more warding clause on the front. Okay, so you choose which creature to exile it. Yeah, so he's definitely an 8. They don't get to choose. Slam dunk wizards. I love it. Ship it. Okay. Next up. Vagaroth Blood Sky Sire. 2 and a red for a Death Touch Demon Rogue with Boast. Okay, Boast hasn't impressed me super much yet, but we'll see. Could be only the few cards we've seen so far have been bad. Colorless and black. Target player searches their library for a card and shuffles their library and puts that card on top of it. Activate this running ability if creature attacked this turn and only once you... Like... This is weird. Because the reason it's weird is I can do it to my opponent if I wanted to. But there's no reason to. So I'm not sure if they're going to have cards later on or cards I'm forgetting that. Yeah, I mean you could probably, yeah, you can trick bind the effect, so yeah, I guess. Okay. So for 2 mana, I can search my library for a card, then shuffle it, put it on top. So I can detutor for 2. Okay? But I can only activate this ability if this creature attacked this turn and only once every turn. So basically, I'm swinging with a 2/3 Death Toucher, 3 mana, and you darn well better block. But see, then I can still do it after they block. I kill their thing and I still get a tutor. It's not a tumor. So it seems really good. It seems like another 8. We're really getting another slam dunk here. 2/3 Death Touch for 3. And you can tutor for 2 mana. Because you have Summon Sickness and then next turn you just attack and... There's a lot of removal, but... well, yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, we'll downgrade to 7 because you gotta be able to attack. But it's a really good card. Next up, we got... the Calamitybearer. 2 and 2 red. Giant Berserker. Berserker. A giant source you control would deal damage to a permanent or player. Deals double that. So, the giant with a stomp on it, you can stomp for 2. Because it doesn't get doubled. Unless you have the Dwarven Noble out that adds +2 to all red sources. And it deals double damage, so it goes from being like a 4/3 to being an 8/3. Which is really good. So Stomp is 2, Giant is 3, he comes down at 4, and makes the Giant huge. So he's pretty good. Seems like Giant Tribal is going to be a thing. And if it does end up being a thing, he's going to be like a 6. Because I think he's going to be a 4 of. Because he's not a ridiculous costed giant like we've seen before from Lorwyn that costs like 6 and 7 and 8. He's 4, so I like it a lot. Next up we got Dragonkin Berserkers. Colorless in a red, human berserker, first strike, boost abilities you activate, costs 1 less to activate for each dragon you control. Boost of 4 of red, create a 5/5 dragon token with flying. He's a 2/2. Okay, so it sounds like to me this is a commander card. Don't think we're going to play it in standard, because you're going to need a lot of dragons in the play to cheapen him out. His ability. And he has to attack to do his ability. So I think in standard we're talking like a 3. And in commander you might be able to upgrade him to like a 5. I mean, he's got first strike, so if you can put ores on him or equipment, he'll get better. So, next up we got Frostbite. A snow instant. 1 red. Deal 2 damage to target creature or planeswalker. If you control 3 or more snow permanents, do 3. So it's a lightning bolt if you're playing snow, which you're probably doing to some degree in red, because snow's a theme in this set. And as long as there are enough, you can probably jam it in there, because spending a red to lightning bolt a creature or planeswalker is going to really good, or shock it. So shock, I just think, is just straight up coming out of your decks, and this is going in instead. Unless they have a blue counter spell that for 1 blue counters a snow spell. But we don't know yet. So, it seems like a good instant that we actually should keep it on our radar. Probably be like a 5. Used in burn to a degree. Next up we have the Battle Mammoth. This guy's packing. 3 and 2 green for a 6/5 trampler. And that's a big elephant. Whenever a permanent you control becomes the target of a spell or an ability an opponent controls, draw a card. Then you pay 2 and exile him, and for 4 mana you can foretell him. So for 4 mana you can have a 6/5 out. I kind of wish that this had like some other clause on him. Like, I feel hexproof would be too good, but it's like, oh, you gotta pay 2 more to target him with a removal card. Because then that would just be like, you know, bam, bank it in. Because usually they'll just use like Heartless Act, kill this thing, yeah, draw your 1 card. So he places it. Oh, so they're doing way too much right now with drawn cards in every single color. They gotta calm that down. Because they're just making the value of these cards too good. People were complaining that cards weren't good enough for Modern, and now they've just, I feel, overdone it. This guy, you know, he's a 6. He's good, but he can be a 6/5 trampler on turn 4, and we'll net you a card if he dies. Next up we got the Elvish Warmaster. Oh baby, sounds cool. Colors in a green for an elf warrior 2/2. Sounding good already. Whenever 1 or more other elves enters the battlefield under your control, create a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token. This ability can only trigger once each turn. Thank God. Thank God. Okay. 5 and 2 green, elves you control get +2/+2 and gain Death Touch. So, we have a big green mana sink for the green castle. Yeah. And a big dumb green artifact tree. Okay, then. So, elves has a mana dump, and he would work well with the elf commander tribal would get in for Golgari. Yep, that's a thing. He'll probably do something standard. He's a 7. Green aggro? Nah, never happens. He's so good. Next up, we have the Masked Vandal. Changeling, colorless and a green, 1/3. When it enters the battlefield, exile a creature card from your graveyard. If you do, exile target artifact or enchantment an opponent controls. Weird version of Rexage. Yeah. I could be wrong, but he might be a situational sideboard card. He's just a common. Not super thrilled. Old Growth Troll. Okay. What do you do, buddy? 3 green for a 4/4 trample. Okay, and then you have a paragraph for lore here. Okay, when he dies, if it was a creature returned to the battlefield, it's an aura enchantment with enchant force you control. An enchanted force has tap at 2 green and 1 tap, sack this land, create a tap 4/4 green troll warrior creature token with trample. Well, that's cool. I don't know how good it's going to be, but 3 for 4/4 trample. That's a warrior to push party some more. That gives you ramp to cast some of these bigger spells, like the elephant or stuff like that. Yeah, sure. Interest in new design. Yeah, I mean, I'll give it like a 6. It's pretty cool. It's a new little funky thing going on. You know, you'll have to lose the land and the 2 mana ramp you gain, but it's pretty cool. Pretty cool little thing going on. The Packmate. Another common. 4 for a 3/3 to draw a card. Pay 2, foretell for 2. Elvish Visionary, that's a 3/3 instead of a 1/1. Yeah. It's a common. Kind of middle of the road. Next up, we got the new Planeswalker for this set. A white, a blue, X for Nico. Loyalty of 3. Okay, let's find out what this X does. When Nico enters the battlefield, create X shard tokens. They're enchantments with 2 sacrifices an enchantment, scry 1, then draw a card. Well, that's pretty good. So they're not quite clue tokens because they're enchantments. Okay. +1. Up to 1 target creature you control can't be blocked this turn. When it deals combat damage, return it to hand. -1, it deals 2 damage to tapped target creature for each card you've drawn this turn. Okay. -1, create a shard. So he has no ultimate. He's a 3 loyalty walker for 3 mana. No built-in protection. Really? Like, it's interesting, but I just don't see him doing much. Like, up to 1 target creature can't be blocked this turn whenever that creature deals damage this turn. Like, if we were dealing with mechanics like fade in or stuff like that, where the creature was going to die at end of turn, then maybe. I'm just not really sold on that part. Like, we've had things before in Standard, like the Bident or the Blue Guard that spends 4 and taps their stuff. Yeah, I mean, I think he's interesting because he's an interesting. He gets a 5, but I just don't think he's any better than a 5. Like, I could be wrong. I'll welcome being wrong, but he doesn't have. Like, there's some interesting cards are we seeing, but so you can kill some big creatures by -1 but we've had Planewalkers that have done that in the past. Moving on to our next card. Up to bat, we have the Blood Sky Massacre. Colors a black and a red for an enchantment. Create a 2/3 red demon Berserker token with Menace. Whenever a Berserker attacks on the Saga Part 2, you draw a card this turn and lose 1 life. Well, there's a lot of Berserkers, so this could be a thing. And then for 3, add a red mana for each Berserker you control until end of turn. You don't lose mana at end of steps and phases. Red's new gimmick. Okay. So 3 for 2/3 Demon Berserker with Menace. And if this is all you do is just get that 1 token, you draw 1, lose 1, regain 1 of the mana you spent. So 2 for 2/3 Menace. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty good. I like it. Berserkers are going to be a thing. Here's how we enable them. Sure. Unlike a normal red enchantment, it doesn't cost 5 mana. Sold. Next up to bat, we have Invasion of the Giants. They're coming. They're coming to get us. Blue and a red. Saga. Step 1. Scry 2. Step 2. Draw a card, then you may reveal a giant card from your hand. When you do, Invasion of the Giant deals 2 damage to the target opponent or Planeswalker. Step 3. The next giant spell you cast this turn costs 2 less to cast. So turn 2, then you have 3 mana, 4 mana, you drop a powerhouse. It's an uncommon. It's a better uncommon. 6 for Tribal Giants, I guess. Not super excited. Next up. Binding of the Old Gods. Sure. 2, a black and a green. Destroy target non-land permanent opponent controls. Sure. Then we, at level 2, search for a forest card and put it on the battlefield tapped. Okay, I guess. And then at level 3, creatures you control gain death touch until end of turn. So you get this turn 4, maybe turn 3 because it has green in it. Nuke a thing, ramp a little higher, drop a big thing. On turn 3, maybe something with haste. No, our stuff has death touch, which is especially really good with, like, if we have the big crazy giant elephant from core that trample and reach and keyword soup. Then you can do Death Touch with Trample for 1 damage, trample over the rest. So, yeah, it's pretty good. Really solid. Don't know if we'll see play, but it's solid. Give it a 5. Probably usable in Budget Commander. Next up we got our last one, I believe. Kolo, the Forge Master. Waboom! We've seen this guy before. This is just a special art that they released today. Red and a white. Whenever another non-token creature controlled dies, if it was enchanted or equipped, bounce it to owner's hand. Creature tokens you control that are enchanted or equipped get +1/+1. He's uncommon. Looks sick as heck. Next up, we have the original lands from Cold Snap that are basic lands that say plains and islands, but they're snow lands, and they always come into play tapped. So that's a reprint. We also get them downshifted to common. We got white, blue, blue, black, black, red, red, green, green, white. But now they're even giving us the enemy colors because they want snow to be a thing. Blue, red, black, green, red, white, green, blue, and lastly, we got basic lands again. Self-explanatory. Our very last card to see here is the promo Praetor with Phyrexian text on it. If you like Phyrexian text on your card, here you go. He's sweet. Double your mana. 6/6 Trampler. Other stuff I can't read. Nice to know this is a promo from the set. So that's all the craziness we got to see in the last week or so. Some of the cards we don't know if they're any good because they have runes, and we haven't seen any runes yet. Fortell looks pretty good. That blue-white walker I'm not sure about because it's just awkward. The blue and black cards are different than what we expected. There's no weapons on the backside, but they are pretty cool. And the black one I really like to ball. He's a slam dunk. My name's been Draymore with the Wizards Arena. Please like, share, and subscribe, and comment below. And I'll see you guys on the next video. You have yourselves a great day.